Welcome everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to this week's episode of the weekly HOScale newsletter recaps for February 17th, 2025, where we take a look at some of the new announcements, new updates across different newsletters and different manufacturers in the HOScale industry. As always, before we get into it, do me a favor and subscribe if you're new or if you find yourself coming back anyways. Really appreciate it, so thank you very much. Like the video if you enjoyed as well, and drop me a comment if there's anything here you're excited about or anything I may have missed. Nobody's perfect. We'll go ahead and start off this week. As you can see on your screen, we have a new product announcement from Broadway Limited, and BLI actually dropped a second announcement that we'll take a look at as well. But first up, the return of their F units. You can see the Norfolk Southern Executive units there. This run includes F3s and F7s. Show you some details here before we take a look at the paint schemes. They've got of course, the Norfolk Southern Executive units, as well as their current appearances after they were sold off by Norfolk Southern to the Reading and Northern, as well as the Aberdeen, Carolina, and Western railroads. They're also doing the executive versions for Chicago Northwestern, as they're doing the Chicago Northwestern version of the Fox River Theater car. I've got mine on pre-order. Definitely check those out if you're still interested. Pre-orders are closing in the next month or so. No big rush right now on those theater cars, but definitely take a look at those. It shows there the order deadline is March 13th, and these should arrive in September 2025. With some of the details out of the way, take a look at some more shots here. We got the full ABBA set in the Norfolk Southern scheme, as well as all of these paint schemes here. You can see that McGinnis scheme in Boston, Maine looks very good. We've got Rio Grande versions as well. 5-stripe scheme. Of course, I always love the Pennsylvania units. I don't own any yet, but they've got that train line phone on the top. There's those ACWR renditions, as well as the Chicago Northwestern Executive units. And the current configuration there in the Reading and Northern versions of those Norfolk Southern units. These are all offered with Paragon 4. They come both as an A-B set with a powered A unit and an unpowered B unit, which I'm not really a fan of, but up to you. It saves you a little bit of money if you're looking for that unit, or you can buy just the A unit and just the B unit separately and have them both be powered. And these ones at the bottom here are exclusives to Chase's Train Garage, the Wheeling and Lake Erie, to celebrate their 35th anniversary. And another surprise, they're doing an inspection car as well. Very similar to the Chicago Northwestern version of the car, but painted, of course, in the Wheeling and Lake Erie scheme. You can only pick those up through Chase's Train Garage, and that Christmas locomotive is a Trainworld exclusive, as you can see. But order deadline for all of these is March 13th. You can see peeking out their next product announcement, the 280 Consolidations, also in HOScale. No N-scale announcements, sorry guys. This is a model they've also done before, but they're bringing them back now in Paragon 4, or Stealth, of course. There's those schemes, looking pretty good. It's not a brass hybrid model, but still die-cast boiler and such. And they're also doing the current Strasburg number 90, so that's really cool to see. That one is also an exclusive, only offered through Trainworld, so you have to order directly through them to get that version. These have the same order deadline of March 13th, as you can see, but a little earlier delivery expected in August of 2025. That's all here from Broadway Limited. We'll move on now over to Athearn. All right, moving over to Athearn's newsletter, a little bit of a shorter one this week. A model now available for pre-order in the Roundhouse line, the 50-foot flat car. You can see the different road names flashing by there. We won't go too in-depth on these. It's just a Roundhouse model. You got 2 road numbers per road name here. That's a good option to fill out your roster. I say that kind of often, but it's kind of true. If you're looking for maybe a one-off car, you might go with a higher tier model, maybe a Genesis model. But if you're just looking for more rolling stock, the Roundhouse lines are pretty good for that. Same with Walthers mainline, same kind of deal. But a model here now in stock are the 48-foot containers. There's all of those paint schemes going by for you. And just a little update on what Athearn's been working on. Of course, another run of MP15ACs. I've got my Milwaukee Road version. These are a little bit different. The GATX, one of them is an X Southern Pacific unit, so it's got a neat Southern Pacific light package on the front. But those Roundhouse F7As we took a look at as well in a couple newsletters ago. Also looking pretty good. Same sort of tooling as before, slightly updated, but these should be shipping soon, as they say. So that's good to see. But that's all here for Athearn. Again, not a lot this week. We'll move on over to ScaleTrains next. All right, over here in ScaleTrains' newsletter, another update on their N-Scale GP30s being in stock. A little bit of history on the Union Pacific version. We saw this last week. I'll move a little bit through a little quickly here. As always, feel free to pause if you're interested in the information here. There's those paint schemes as well. These are currently in stock. They also put out a nice video with Arthur Bradley from Bradley DCC Custom Models talking about the Rio Grande in general, as well as his weathering jobs on the GP40s. Looked really neat. It's their first video podcast I've seen from them, so I'd definitely recommend checking that out. If you're interested in just scale trains in general, or Rio Grande, or weathering, this is a good little chat. As just discussed, the Rio Grande GP40s, the DCC and Sound are now sold out in the Rio Grande scheme, but if you see here, some of them are still available. Got my Milwaukee Road version. You can check out my review if you are interested in that as well, but very happy with it so far. It's their first run of GP40s. So if you want that Rio Grande version like they talk about in the video, you'll have to get the DCC ready version. Now another reminder on some pre-orders due this upcoming Monday, the 24th. And we talked about it last week too. Just a reminder, if you're seeing this on the day this video goes up tonight, the 17th, that the pre-orders are due in a couple hours for the SD40-2s as well as the Trinity High-Cube boxcars. If you see this before the end of the day and you want those, definitely get those in. Here's another reminder on the S-Helper service S-Scale model that they have. Talked about it before as well. Just move through, no new information there. The N-Scale SD40T-2s as well. Also, pre-order deadline of this upcoming Monday, the 24th. It's a reminder of the road names and paint schemes. And now in HO Scale, we do have some new product shots of the GP30Us for Santa Fe. Again, reminder, we have the GP30s, the GP30Us, and GP39Es in this run. That's some cool distressed versions. There's a little bit of history on these Santa Fe versions that we haven't seen before. Talking about the merger and such, the SPSF shouldn't paint so fast. And another reminder of the update on the Chicago Great Western GP30s that they added a couple more road numbers. So now they are doing all 8 of them in this run because they typically ran in 4-unit sets. And they also included a little bit of history here on the Chicago Great Western itself. There's a nice map here of the route. And another reminder on the model features, as well as all the road names and paint schemes. A couple new ones at HO scales they point out. And those will deliver late this summer. And another model, final model here with the pre-order of February 24th, the SD7s and SD9s. Here is the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy feature, the CB&Q, or the Burlington route. Talking about some of the history, as well as some of the road-specific features of these CB&Q SD7s with the Mars light, which is pretty cool. There's a clear lens at the top and the red ones at the bottom, so the Mars light can be both colors, which is kind of neat. I've got the Southern Pacific 1518 pre-ordered because it's still preserved at the Illinois Railway Museum, so I thought that was pretty sweet. I hope that ScaleTrains will do another little special call out like the Illinois Railway Museum version, potentially, like they did with the Big Blow Turbine number 18. So that'd be pretty cool to see. I guess we'll find out. And an update here on their delivery schedule. The models here on the screen right now, they did get delayed, so early March is the current estimate for these. Looking at those HO SD40T-2s, got both Rio Grande versions on order, so I'm excited for those. Little delay on that. And their next run of ES44s is also en route. Estimated in late February, so it might beat this original shipment. Those first CPKC units, they're fully reserved online. I was just checking today, thinking about getting one of those. I'm not quite sure yet. I didn't pre-order one, but I still think they might be cool to show off on the channel because it's the first CPKC units. But no progress here from me just yet. And a reminder of the upcoming show schedule. They'll be over in California. And that's all here from ScaleTrains. Up next, we'll take a quick look at Class 1 Model Works. Their upcoming release of ARI 5200 hopper cars will be arriving soon. Here's a couple features. There's the CM&O, which is a UP sub. These are currently still available for pre-order. We'll take a brief look at the schemes in just a second here. There's some information on road-specific hatches they have, little differences between them. There's just more shots of the CM&O version. And briefly, here's a quick shot of Class 1 Model Works' page here because I couldn't find an actual product listing for them, just to show off the different schemes here. So there's a Kansas City Southern in addition, as well as a patched crab orchard and Egyptian. Got a couple other versions here, like the CIT group, a couple different versions of that. And of course, you can see the price on those as well. But that's all here from Class 1 Model Works. We'll move on over to a quick update from Rapido. All right, I just wanted to share a quick update on the GP39 design files here from Rapido. Show a couple different variations with the plow and horn and box covers there on the side you can see. Looking pretty good renders all around so far. I haven't pre-ordered any yet. Pre-order deadline's coming up in a little bit, not quite a rush right now. There's the features there on the right, pretty standard Rapido expectations at this point. Metal handrails, as well as the full class light lighting package and Canon & Company licensed fans, which are pretty cool. And here's the updated design shot of the SWMT Slug. They note that this isn't final either, that there's still a couple revisions. This is the same Slug viewed from the front quarter panel as well as the rear quarter panel, so don't be looking for differences between the two. It's the same Slug here. This is the chassis CSX versions on these. So also looking pretty good, same sort of features as the GP39, just of course in Slug form. But that's all from Rapido, just wanted to point these out to you. We'll move on over to Walthers next. All right, over here in Walthers' e-update, they're kicking off the National Model Railroad build-off. We'll take a look at it just in a second here, but just to highlight, they're doing a silver screen scenes category, or the usual freelance category. But let's take a look at the different categories and prize payouts and such. All right, so here is the National Model Railroad build-off page. So as you can see on the left, they've got the category of silver screen scenes, which is movie or TV program based, as well as your typical freestyle version that they call there. Here are their dates. Begins in March, so still a little ways off. And then these entries are due all the way down in July, so you got some time. And they'll announce the winners in August. Here's the prize payout in the Youth Silver Screen Scenes category, as well as some entry details. I would recommend checking out the product page yourself for the full list, just in case I skip something. Here's the adult category, as well as their freestyle category. This is open to both youth and adults. There's no separation in this category. And here's some example of movies or TVs with trains in them. I'm sure we'll probably see quite a few Polar Express and Unstoppable. But there's a lot of different categories in here, so it should be pretty cool. And finally, just a little bit of a list of entry requirements here. Remember to make as many photo angles as you can, take as many pictures to submit. But that's all here from this announcement. We'll move back over to Walthers' page. Moving on, we talked about the Proto X29B Pennsylvania boxcars a little bit ago. Again, Proto line, so it's got pretty good detail on them. Still available for pre-order. Should be coming this spring. No exact month quite yet, so I would guess maybe April or so. But that's a model that's on the horizon. You can pre-order them, but usually these boxcars you should be able to pick up from your dealer or from Walthers themselves for a little while after they deliver, so don't worry too much. We also talked about before their new run of NW2s in the Proto line, estimated in the summer. So again, just the summer months, no exact month quite yet, but looks pretty good. Lockdown 5 standard or DCC ready with that good Proto drive. And when we took a look through the full Atlas catalog, we touched on the new run of their Master line -8-40Bs and their -8-39Bs for the Burlington Northern. These come with lock sound or DCC ready, depending on which one you get. It looks pretty good. Atlas is usually the go-to for these -8 4-axle locomotives. And finally, an N-scale release from Blueford Shops, the 70-ton 3-bay 14-panel hoppers. So if you're an N-scale guy, definitely take a look at these. I've heard Blueford Shops is pretty good. I don't own any of their equipment quite yet. Might pick up some eventually, but not at this time. That's all of the newsletters I have for you this week. One final reminder though, there are a lot of Rapido models, also with an order deadline of tonight on February 17th. We talked about them all last week. They include the C36-7s and the ballast hoppers. So you may have a couple hours if you're seeing this on the upload date. Take a look at those and get your orders in by tonight. You should be okay if you miss it. Rapido typically doesn't always sell out of pre-orders. But that's all I have in terms of updates. Thank you very much for watching. If you did make it this far, consider subscribing. Completely free and helps to grow the channel. Really appreciate it. Like the video if you enjoyed as well, and drop me a comment if anything was interesting today, or if you just want to chat. Love going through those with you guys. With that, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.